Buckle up for this one, guys, because I'm going quite into detail with what I remember about this show. So this is something that has been on my mind for a couple days now. I first started watching object shows in late 2015, and then I just completely stopped watching them altogether in early 2016, and then I finally came back to them when BFB1 came out. The 4 or 5 main object shows I remember watching were BFDI, BFDIA, and Namit and Sandy 2, not the first one, Object Overload, and The Strive for the Million. But I just knew I had watched at least 2 more. And that was when it hit me. This one little screenshot, that I also edited, that I found when browsing my old hard drive, it all came back to me. Now, last thing before we get into this, let me preface this by saying that this might not have been an object show like Total Fruit Island. However, this show did have quite a lot of object show energy, and it was more than just a competition factor. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the long-lost StikBot object show. First up, here's the other screenshot I took. Remember that video where I found the vector for the old Cartoon Network logo on my old hard drive? Well, I also mentioned some other HTML files where it could have came from, which I didn't discover until I looked there. And in one of the many HTML files I never knew I saved, I found that the second episode popped into my Watch It Again feed. Now, not only is this important because it reveals more of the visuals, characters, the episode title, the episode length, the thumbnail, the name, the creator, and the views. Wait, that is actually quite a lot. But it also has a link to the video and the channel. Clicking on the video link shows you that the video has been deleted, literally, and clicking on the channel shows that has now been renamed to Garbage Channel. Now, I'm not going to link this channel for now or reveal much information about it because I don't want comments about the Amazing StikBot Race to pile up, but there's still some more info to be found here. The channel was created on August 29th, 2015. We've already found out that episode 2 came out in December of 2015, so the show was created sometime in between that. The first remaining video on the channel was published on September 12, 2018, and there is some proof that all the animations were deleted by this time. It was also proof that at the time the channel wasn't active since 2016. Now finally, on to what I remember. The show was indeed animated, but the animation looked pretty slow. I also don't remember if there was actual lip syncing or not, just the mouths moving. I think the show was done by a kid because I remember the voices of the characters, and they also all sounded like the same person. The host was a cactus that looked a bit like the StikBots, and it also had a StikBot face. And I remember this especially because I wondered why it was a cactus. I also think the cactus's voice was slightly auto-tuned, and I also remember it did move its arms, but only in like one scene, which we'll get into a little later. I remember there being a red StikBot who was pessimistic, and probably a yellow StikBot, and maybe a magenta one, but that's it. Now, I remember 2 challenges from the show, but I thought both of them were from the same episode. But I think the title of the episode we're looking at right now proves otherwise, which you'll see in a minute. The first challenge was swinging from vines over a gorge. It began with one of the StikBots already failing, and the red StikBot responded with something like, "Oh great, we already lost a member," which is where I remembered their personality and that there were teams. I don't remember anything else about there being teams, and without that, I probably wouldn't have remembered it all. The only other thing I remember from the first challenge were just the StikBot swinging, and that's it. The second challenge was to eat the yummy goop out of what I think was a metal vat. The yummy goop looked like big rainbow candies, kinda like the gumdrops from IDFB. Some of the contestants ate it and they turned into weird creatures that I don't remember. And then the green StikBot made the face. They all decided to wait for it to wear off, so the camera panned up and it showed a time lapse of the days going by. I think it also said 100-something days or hours later. The camera pans back down and I think one of the contestants said something like, "This isn't working!" Then the host shouts to drink the potion and he throws it at them and they all go back to normal. This is the only scene where I remember his arms moving, and I'm not sure if it actually happened. I also remember that it sounded like he said trick instead of drink. Now the rest of this might be misremembering, but I think the host told the viewers to vote, and it cut to a voting screen with the team up for elimination. And that was everything I remember from the Amazing StikBot Race.